Hey everyone, it's Anna from Love Baby Photography. Today I wanted to show you how to edit a parent shot from a newborn session using a neutral tone background. This color I believe that I use is mocha, and I order it from what is that called? Adorama.com, and I really like this backdrop for family portraits during the newborn sessions, or single parent shots. I think it's really nice because it works for so many different skin tones, um, and it's very easy to edit. So it's really my go-to backdrop when I travel to clients' home. This is the backdrop that I bring with me. So let's get started. I'll show you how to do a quick edit, and hopefully will help you. Okay, so right now the image is open in Camera Raw. I used my D600 to shoot it, and I was at 2.8, 640 ISO, and I used my 50 millimeter lens for this. So this was a little bit way back when I had the 50 millimeter lens, but these days I shoot with the 35 because, like I said in my other videos, with the 35 I like it because I get that extra negative space, because sometimes when you go to clients' houses, it could be a mansion, it could be an average house, it could be a teeny tiny city apartment. So I really never know what I'm gonna walk into. So I guess trial and error over the years of shooting, since this picture was taken, upgraded to a 35 millimeter lens, and I think it's absolutely perfect. But of course, you could still make it work with the 50, and I loved my 50. It was such a great lens. Anyways, so let's get started. So right now I think the first thing that I want to do is go here and see what it looks like in neutral. As you might know, it's one of my favorite settings, and I think I actually really like what it did to the image. So it was originally at the standard, and now, which the standard to me looks like it's a little bit overexposed, and a neutral is just a little bit more better. Okay, so then I'm gonna go right here, and I'm actually going to take out some of the yellow. I will probably go around 25. Kind of works for me. I mean, if you go any more, then the image really gets colder. So 25, it's good. We'll leave it at 26. Like I said, I don't over obsess with these numbers of opacities. It works for me. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so let's see what's going on. So the baby has a little bit of red here, and then a little bit red up in his cheeks. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to my adjustment brush tool and just bump up the exposure just a little bit so I can lighten this area up, and then in Photoshop I will take out the redness. So I don't see anything else that I need to adjust. So we did a little bit of exposure here, we took out some yellow, and then we picked the neutral setting, and I think it's pretty great. I really like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it in Photoshop. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the eyedropper tool, and select somewhere in the middle so I get the paint color right over here in this area. and then select my brush tool, and I'll probably bump up the ISO opacity to about 80%, and I'm just gonna paint it in just like that. So I see that this area is a little bit darker, and of course guys, I know there's a million ways to do this, but when I started to do Photoshop, when I was learning everything by hand, this is the way I learned, and it just works, and I can't complain about it. I'm actually gonna go back right here because I just want to do this part, just kind of like blend it in. And then for the bottom area, I'm going to select an area from here, go to my brush tool and drop the opacity probably to about 18, which is a good one. And just bring it down, but except I kind of painted over that a little bit. So I'm going to do it again. And so another reason why I really like using this backdrop is because if you make a mistake, you really can't tell, you know. So it really helps in the beginning. So you could definitely see that I went over the skin right over here. So what I'm going to do is actually just go back. There we go. So it is a little bit darker, but I think what I might do is pick up the color from here, select my brush tool. Oh my gosh, I just painted on his head, and just gently paint here, softly, gently. I mean, these are his shadows, so, you know, I wouldn't fuss too much. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna leave the shadows. So then I'm gonna go to my crop tool and actually crop it just a little bit more. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm going to flatten the layer, and then I'm going to use the action that I use pretty much for every newborn session. It's free. Okay, here we go. So this was before, this is after. I'm going to flatten it again. And I have one more action that works great on this particular backdrop. So as you could see, so that was the before, this is after. So I'm gonna drop down the opacity probably to like 50. And then what I'm gonna do is just make sure to brush it off. I'm gonna bump up the opacity on top and just brush it off the dad and the baby. Okay, so then the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to use the action I have to remove the red skin. I mean, this one is a good action, and you know, many people sell great actions to remove red skin. So I'm going to select my brush tool. The brush has to be white. I'm going to drop it down to like 19 is good. And so there's a lot of red right here. So I'm just literally going to paint right over. And so when I turn it off, you could see how much redder it was. And his skin tones were even. It was just once the pressure was applied in this area, it just made his cheeks a little bit rosy. And then I'm going to brush it off right here on his elbow. And the same right over here. Let me go back to the cheek just a little bit more. So I think this is really good. So this was the after, and this is was the before. So you could see a big difference that it made. So I'm gonna pull back and flatten the image. And I'm going to run Portraiture, which is the best skin smoothing action ever. My setting is right here at neutral. Normal, sorry. And my sharpness is at 16. I think I'm gonna drop it down a little bit, maybe like 14. And I'm gonna hit OK. So once it opens, I'm going to actually drop the opacity to about 70. And then I'm going to run a mask on top of the portraiture layer. Select the black brush with the opacity of about 30, 29, 30, it's fine. Like I say in my videos, that I don't over obsess. And I'm going to brush it off the dad because I don't want him to be super smooth. And especially because he has body hair. You know, if it's a mom, it's one thing. You know, moms love that smooth skin because it just makes them look even more better. But dad, it's a different story. So you could see that we brushed it back. I think it's really good. And the baby doesn't have any issues with his skin, so I'm gonna leave it as is. So I'm gonna pull it back and I'm gonna flatten it. And I'm gonna go back into the history all the way on top, click the image. So this is where we started and this is where we are. So it has more creamier tones, and just overall, you know, everything just is better. I really love the skin to skin pictures. If of course dads are willing to take their shirts off, but I try to encourage them, and then a wife usually really encourages them, so it creates this beautiful portrait. These images, I should say this pose also looks really, really nice in black and white portraits. So that will be coming in the future, a couple of black and white edits that I do. But I think this is pretty perfect. So from this point, I'm going to save the image. Always make sure that I'm saving it at the highest quality. And that's about it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post videos daily. And if you have any questions in regards to this video or something else, or would you like a tutorial that I should do in the future, please leave it in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to you guys and I will work on any tutorial that you would like for me to do. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.